Hi, good morning. Welcome, my CAPE students. Today, the subject of focus will be economics, and I will be looking at the first part of econ that speaks to the central problem of economics. I am Abigail James. Let's begin. So, the focus for today, in terms of our objectives, is that we'll be looking to define the term economics. We're going to explain the concept of scarcity, and we're going to apply the concept of opportunity cost in real-life situations, as well as to explain the concept of the production possibility frontier. Now let's begin. Let's look at our definition of what is economics. Now, economics, as it's there on your screen, it is a social science that studies the behavior and decisions made by people in relation to how resources are used to satisfy their wants and their needs. There are other definitions available, but there's another one I'd like to introduce to you. It is also the study of how individuals and society choose to use scarce resources available to satisfy their wants and their needs. Now, there are two main branches of economics. The first one is called microeconomics, and as the word suggests, micro, small. So we're looking at the smaller aspects of the economy in terms of production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services. So what you will find is that that aspect of economics is focusing on the behavior of firms, consumers, and the role of government in the markets. So microecon really is what you'll be doing in Unit 1. Macroeconomics, though, looks at the management of the entire economy. So we're not just looking at the behavior of individual consumers, but we're looking at consumers as a whole. So we talk about things like how inflation affects the consumers. We talk about the level of unemployment. We will speak of things like national income and GDP, export, the exchange rate, and that will be more of your Unit 2 of your economics. So today we're just focusing on Unit 1 and the first aspect of it. Now I want you to recall the definition previously stated on economics, the study of how individuals and society choose to use the scarce resources available to satisfy their needs. What you're going to find, students, is that a lot of what is, formerly this econ that we're studying, you practice it every day. We know that our resources are scarce, and as a result, we have to make choices in terms of what we're going to do with the limited resources that we have. So as an individual and as a society, there are three basic questions that all societies must answer, whether it's Jamaica, the US, Canada. The three questions are: what will be produced? How will it be produced? And who will get what is produced? Understand this and keep this at the back of your mind, that all countries will not be able to produce everything that they need or want, based again of resources. Some countries have certain natural resources more than others. Some are surrounded by sea and have water bodies. Some are surrounded by land. And so their resources are much different. And so these three basic questions will always come into play. What will be produced? How will it be produced? And who will get what is produced? Now, the fact that resources are limited, it means that there is some amount of scarcity. So scarcity by definition means that it is limited in supply and because resources are finite. All right, but what we find, and this is where it comes in now as a problem, that human wants are infinite. It's limitless. And therefore, what you will find is that the economy will not be able to produce all that humans want. The productive capacity is not able to satisfy all human wants. And so scarcity arises out of the inequality between our limited resources and our unlimited human wants. So, as a result of scarcity, we have to make a choice. Please, I'm emphasizing certain words because you must keep them in the back of your mind. As a result of scarcity, we have to make a choice in terms of what it is that we need to produce with the limited resources that we have. So, Miss, how would that apply to me? Let's hold a reason. Let us say you saved $5,000. And in your mind, your coil is as thick as dumpling. You have $5,000 and you want to purchase a pair of jeans and a setup and a pair of sneakers. Now that $5,000 cannot purchase both items. So you're going to have to choose which one, because the $5,000 can either give you the pair of jeans or the sneakers. So you have to make a choice. Now, what you are going to give up represents a sacrifice. You're going to have to sacrifice that choice because your limited $5,000 resources cannot purchase both the jeans and the sneakers. I hope you're with me. So, the decision now, even as a country, to produce one good requires a decision to produce less of some other good. So, choices involves sacrifice. And every society is faced with the basic problem of dealing with what it is willing to sacrifice in order to produce what it wants the most. So again, back to our illustration, as you as a consumer, you were faced with the dilemma that your $5,000, as big as it is to you, it is still limited in terms of what you want. And some of us know, especially as ladies, girls, when we go out, we don't want the jeans and the sneakers alone. We want to get our hair done, nails done, and if you can squeeze in a facial. But listen, that $5,000, limited, can't work. So if you look in terms of a country, if a country decides to do more roads, then it will have to say the fewer resources, there will be fewer resources left to do things like building schools. So if Jamaica, for example, decides that they are going to send resources or utilize resources to fix Marcus Garvey Drive, because it needs to fix, it means that they won't be able to give resources to, for example, the health in ministry, in terms of to expand a wing at Spanish Town Hospital, so to speak. They will have to make a choice. So the problem of choice arises when there are alternative ways of producing other goods. And as I said to you before, the one that you give up had to be sacrificed for the alternative. So if the government decides to fix the roads, they are sacrificing building schools in order to do that. And that now leads us to a new term that is called opportunity cost. So opportunity cost is looking at what was the best next alternative that had to be foregone, what it is that I had to sacrifice or to give up. And there is a definition there. It refers to the value of the best alternative foregone as a result of choosing one option over competing options. Or, said another way, what was given up or forego when we made a choice or a decision. That is the term opportunity cost. Now, you will find that with economics, several modules are used to simplify the workings of an economy and to explain certain concepts and principles as it relates to economics. One such model is called the production possibility frontier or the production possibility curve. Whatever text you're using, you will find those two terms, it is the same thing. Now, this production possibility frontier is a graph that is simply used to illustrate the principles of scarcity, choice, and opportunity costs. So they are using this model that we're going to look at in a little while to simplify the workings of the economy and how it is that given our limited resources, a society will have to choose how they are going to use their resources and what they'll have to give up if they want more or less of a good or service. Another definition there, it is a graph that shows all the combination of goods and services that can be produced if all society resources are fully utilized. I want you to remember that definition, especially that part of it, with all of the resources of the society fully utilized. All right, if you are able to see the production possibility frontier. So when we look at it, it is between two goods. So it is there showing that this society is producing good A and good B. Now the blue line there represents the production possibility curve, and it is the combination along that curve. Once the combination is along that curve, it means that that combination that is being produced is using all of the resources available to that society. So just for you to understand that there are some basic assumptions of the production possibility curve. The first assumption there is that the resources are given and they remain constant. So for that particular period of time, whatever resources are available in the economy, that is it. The technology that is used in production is also constant. All right? Everything is held here constant. Resources and technology are fully utilized. So everything is used to max capacity. There is absolutely no wastage at all or any form of idle resources. And the technology that is used to produce the goods and services also remain constant. So keep those assumptions, students, at the back of your mind. So back to the production possibility frontier. How can we use this model to explain the concept of scarcity, choice, and opportunity cost? And I'm going to go to the board and I'm going to illustrate how we can use this concept to explain scarcity, choice, and opportunity costs. So here I'm going to put up my PP curve for a typical economy. Here we have good A and we have good B. We're going to put in our curve. Now, this curve here, this is a PPC. The PPC represents that all resources are fully utilized. Therefore, if the society wishes to produce, let us put in some figures here, 10 units of A, units of good A, they are able to produce 6 units of good B given the resources that are available. Now, this situation here is what we'll call an attainable point. This combination, the society can produce given the resources that are available. But let us say that the economy wants to increase its production of good B. Let us say instead of 6 units of B, they want 7 units of B instead. So let's go now. Let me just change the color of the marker here so you'll be able to see. So 7 units of B come across and touch the PPC. Please don't laugh at my lines if they're not too straight. And come across here, you'll find that in order to increase, to go 1 more unit of good B, what happened to good A? That is correct. Good A fell from 10 units to 8 units. And so that's a difference there of 2 units. So you see here that the combination can be had, but because the resources are limited based on what the economy have, they'll have to make a choice. So if they want more of good B, they will have to give up some of good A. And when we say give up, what term jumps into mind? The give up talks about opportunity cost. So in order to produce 1 more unit of good B, the economy or the society had to give up or to sacrifice 2 units of good A. All right. Now let us say, stretching you a bit, that the economy wants 8 units of A and 9 units of good B. Are they able to produce that level of output? Let us look at it. 8 units, or even say 12 units, but let us go 8 units of A and 9 units of B. Look what happened. It falls outside of the PPF. And remember that the PPF represents that all resources are fully utilized. Therefore, this combination outside of the PPF is referred to as unattainable. Meaning that given the resources and the level of technology, this economy is not able to produce that level of output. Let us look quickly. If they wanted 6 units of A and 4 units of B, it's inside of the PPF. Now, inside of the PPF is what is referred to as underutilization of the resources. Because if the PPF here, if the boundary here represents full utilization, It means that this society at this point of 6A and 4B, you are underutilizing your resources. And it also referred to as you have some idle resources because the economy has the capacity to produce much more than you are producing here. So the PPF is used to explain that because of resources, the limited resources, certain wants and needs cannot be produced, that will be unattainable, right? But if you want a combination, you want more of B, you'll have to give up or sacrifice some of good A because resources are scarce. You have to choose what you have sacrificed represents opportunity cost. Now let us go to what I call the shifts in the PPF. Now a shift in the PPF denotes that there is an outward movement of the curve. And if you look at that diagram, the original PPF was PPF1, right? And then now there's an outward shift to PPF2. This represents what we call economic growth. Now, what would cause the economy to be able to produce, in this example here, more manufactured goods and more services? Let us look at some of these factors. The first one there is an expansion of human resources and capital. That means there is an increase, for example, in labor force. We have more persons being able to work within the economy. More persons being able to work, output will also increase. An expansion of human capital, meaning persons are more highly trained, they have skills, they have upgraded themselves, and so they're in terms of their labor productivity, they are able to produce more. Another factor that can cause the PPF to shift outwards is an improvement in technology. Now remember that in our example before, there was a point that was unattainable given the level of technology. Now if there's an improvement in technology, look at what is happening now. Things are not slow and certain things are now, certain machinery are now obsolete. So you're able to produce faster, more efficient, and of course increase your level of output. Another factor is the discovery of new resources. For example, land that is fit or able to do certain kind of farming or real estate, whatever it is, minerals, the discovery of certain minerals, that will also help to shift the PPF outwards. And of course, competition in the market. Now, how competition works is that firms will find ways, creative ways, innovative ways, efficient ways of producing goods and services because they are in competition with each other. And what you will find is that it will boost the level of output for that economy. So those are some of the factors that can cause the PPC to shift outwards, representing that there is a level of economic growth within that society. We can have the opposite, which is an inward shift of the PPF. And that would represent what we call an economic decline. So what you will find is that both capital goods in this example and consumption goods, that is goods for consumers, they are decreasing in terms of the amount that they are able to produce. And what could cause that? A depletion of human resources. For example, brain drain, right? So when the nurses leave or the teachers leave or our specialists or our technicians leave and they go to other countries, that can cause an inward shift of the PPC. When persons are not able to take opportunity of improving themselves in terms of their skill set, they're not able to access certain programs, or some programs are too expensive. That can also result in a depletion of our human capital. A reduction in technology. Technology requires, in some cases, a lot of money in terms of investment in that level of technology. And if we're using technology that is obsolete, we are going to be left behind in terms of our productive capacity. If we deplete our resources, our natural resources, that will also result in an inward shift. No competition in the market. So what you'll find is that there's some form of inefficiency. They don't use technology. They're not motivated to do anything because they say, oh, well, we produce, people must buy, and that is it. But that is for want of a better word, a lame way of approaching business, and it can also lead to a decrease or a decline in the level of output. Natural disasters, when we have hurricanes, flooding, earthquakes, that can negatively impact production and, of course, cause the PPF, the production possibility curve of a country, to shift inwards. Then we have a special situation that is called the pivoting of the PPC. Now, in this example here, what you will find is that there is a production of coconuts and fish. Now, originally, coconuts was 30 and fish 40, but then you see that there's a pivot of the PPF outwards in favor of the quantity of fish being produced to 50. So what you will find in this situation is that all the factors that we spoke about that will cause an outward shift of the PPF, it's happening for fish production and not for coconuts. So what you'll find is that the resources being placed towards fish production is probably higher in quantity, or you'll find that there's an improvement in terms of how we can catch fish and process it, and everything else remain fixed for coconuts. And so coconuts will remain constant, but fish production will increase. Woo! Was a lot. So now I'm going to, by way of recap, ask you a few questions, and I hope you will get them right. So let's start with the first one. So the first question there on your screen says, what is economics? Is it A, the study of money and financial institutions, B, the study of business, C, a science, social science that studies how people make choices, or is it D, a natural science that studies natural phenomena? And I'm sure you're screaming at home, yes, you got it right. The answer is C, a social science that studies how people make choices. Let's look at the next one. Which of the following best describe the effect of scarcity? Is it limited resources, choice, unlimited wants, or starvation? Well, we know starvation is out. It says best effect of scarcity. And the answer for that one is B, choice. I hope no one said A. A is as a result of scarcity. It is limited, but the best effect now, it says the effect is that you have to make a choice. Let's look at one more. What is opportunity cost? Is it the cost that cannot be avoided in the short run? Is it the cost that arise from the opportunities to earn revenue? Is it C, the value of the next best alternative, which is foregone as a result of a choice? Or is it D, the changing cost between alternative opportunities which are foregone? And I can hear the excitement coming through the television. And yes, you are right. The answer is C, the value of the next best alternative, which is foregone as a result of a choice. We're winding down. Now, the PPF, or the production possibility frontier, illustrates which one? all the goods that can be produced, all the goods and services that are desired but cannot be produced due to scarce resources? Or is it C, the combination of goods and services that can be produced efficiently? Or is it D, all possible production of capital goods? And you are correct. The answer is indeed C, the combination of goods and services that can be produced efficiently. And here is another one. Now, looking at the diagram, it says, which point indicates that resources are not fully utilized? Is it point A? Is it point D? Is it point E? Or is it point C? It says not fully utilized. That means that it is producing, I'm giving you a hint, on the inside of the PPF. And so your answer there is D. That is point C on your diagram. And our last question, referring to the diagram again, which point is described as unattainable? Is it point A? Is it point D? Is it point E? Or is it point C? There you have it. It is point E. It is unattainable because it is outside of the PPF. That level of combination, the society will not have the resources nor the technology in order to produce that level of output. So, boys and girls, I am saying to you with this, this time of online learning and so on, take some time to de-stress for the midterm. Yes, although you're going to turn on your yard, but take some time to de-stress. Parents, de-stress. Students, de-stress. Teachers, de-stress. Students have always asked me what's the book that I recommend. It is The Cape Econ by Edward Baha. If you do not have a text, just ask someone who studied to lend me an econ text. So for today, we look at what is econ. We looked at scarcity choice and opportunity cost and how the PPF is used to explain those concepts. All right, so there we have the diagram again. The PPF, the blue line is actually the curve that shows you that that combination, any combination along that curve, the society is able to produce it in terms of the resources that they have and the technology that is available. If you notice, there's a point outside of that curve, point C. That curve, that point, that combination, I should say, cannot be produced because that combination falls outside of the society's ability to produce that combination, right? It is what we say, it's an unattainable combination. The only way that the society will be able to produce at point C, if, based on the factors that we looked at before, that there's an improvement in technology, there is new resources, discovery of new resources, that you will see a pivot outwards that will facilitate the production there. Point B, which is on the inside of the PPF. Yes, the economy can produce that combination, but guess what? It means that you are underutilizing the resources and the technology that you have. It means that you are actually wasting the resources that you have because the society has the ability to produce much more than what is being produced at point C. So I hope that you are understanding that concept. So that's all the lesson today. I hope you have a better understanding of the subject. Remember, you can send your questions to Television Jamaica's Facebook page at Television Jamaica or to Instagram at television_Jamaica. 15AM-12_Jamaica or simply use the hashtag TVJClassTime. For a repeat of all 3 sessions, tune in later today on JNN at 4 p.m. Highlights from this week will be aired on TVJ this Saturday at 1 p.m. and you can subscribe to onespotmedia.com to catch up on all you have missed. We break tomorrow for the midterm. Be safe, be good, and be prepared to join us next week Tuesday for all new sessions of Class Time. Take care. Remember to wash your hands, sanitize, wear your mask.